Hello, as promised, I told you that I would come back on for another video. This video will be a long one. A part of it is how it is set up. I'm going to be reading an article at the beginning, and then I'm going to go into the top 5. So I want you to have the opportunity to absorb the video from 2 days ago. So if you haven't looked at that one, please do so. And then I also want you to absorb what I'm saying in this video. Ultimately, I told you that the reason why I have been off of my 9-year hiatus from YouTube is because the Lord wanted me to get back onto YouTube to share with you some important things that are going on around the world, and so that you would know, be in the know, and then you would understand how you need to pray for your family, how you need to protect yourself, how do you need to engage with others, how do you need to intercede for others. All of these would answer questions that you would take to God to find out what would be the next step for you right now where we are. All right, so that was the whole purpose, and I came from the scripture, and the basis of this is my people perish for the lack of knowledge, and that's one of the reasons why you need to be in the know. All right, with that being said, the article that will be reading from is an article that was published by the World Economic Forum. The year was 2016. Yes, I said it, 2016. This article was published, and it is on the internet. It is out there. In fact, I will have it in the description box below. This was on the World Economic Forum's website. I believe it still is, but this is a Forbes reproduction of the article. Okay, so with that being said, let me go ahead and get started. The article is written by a person by the name of Ida Auken, and that's Auken. All right, and again, in the description, that's where the article as well as the top 5 articles will be in there, because I am going to follow this with those articles. All right, let's go ahead and get started, because this is a little long. The title of the article: Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. All right, that's by the World Economic Forum. So, sounds exciting, right? All right, welcome. This is the article. Welcome to the year 2030. Welcome to my city, or should I say our city. I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or any clothes. It seems odd to you, but it makes perfect sense for us in this city. Everything you consider a product has now become a service. We have access to transportation, accommodation, food, and all the things we need in our daily lives. One by one, all of these things became free, so it ended up not making sense for us to own much. Continuing. First, communication became digitalized and free to everyone. Then, when clean energy became free, things started to move quickly. Transportation dropped dramatically in price. It made no sense for us to own cars anymore because we could call a driverless vehicle or a flying car for longer journeys within minutes. We started transporting ourselves in a much more organized and coordinated way when public transport became easier, quicker, and more convenient than the car. Now, I can hardly believe that we accepted congestion and traffic jams, not to mention the air pollution from the combustion engines. What were we thinking? Okay, that's the article. Sometimes I use my bike when I go to see some of my friends. I enjoy the exercise and the ride. It kind of gets the soul to come along on the journey. Funny how some things never seem to lose their excitement. Walking, biking, cooking, drawing, and growing plants. It makes perfect sense and reminds us of how our culture emerged out of a close relationship with nature. In our city, we don't pay rent because someone else is using our free space whenever we do not use or need it. My living room is used for business meetings when I'm not there. Once in a while, I will choose to cook for myself. It's easy. The necessary kitchen equipment is delivered at my door within minutes. Since transportation became free, we stopped having all of those things stuffed into our homes. Why keep a pasta maker and a crepe cooker crammed into our cupboards? We can just order when we need them. All right, so I'm going to skip. There is a portion of the article that discusses clean energy and green space. I'll skip to this part because I think the parts that I'm skipping to I feel are pertinent. And again, I do want you to go on and read the entire article. Okay, this is very important, so please do it. Shopping. Back to the article. I can't really remember what that is. For most of us, it has been turned into choosing things to use. Sometimes I find this fun, and sometimes I just want the algorithm to do it for me. It knows my taste better than I do now. When AI and robots took over so much of our work, we suddenly had time to eat well, sleep well, and spend time with other people. The concept of rush hour makes no sense anymore, since the work that we do can be done at any time. I really don't know if I would call it work anymore. It's more like thinking time, creation time, and development time. For a while, everything has turned into an entertainment, and people did not want to bother themselves with difficult issues. It was only at the last minute that we found out how to use all of the new technologies for better purposes than killing time. Okay, this is where the article gets juicy. Please pay attention. My biggest concern is all the people who do not live in our city. Those who we lost on the way. Those who decided that it would become too much, all this technology. Those who felt obsolete and useless when robots and AI took over big parts of our jobs. Those who got upset with the political systems and turned against it. They live different kinds of lives outside the city. Some have formed little self-supplying communities. Others just stayed in the empty and abandoned houses in small 19th century villages. Once in a while, I get annoyed about the fact that I have no privacy. Nowhere I can go and not be registered. I know that somewhere everything I do, think, and dream of is recorded. I just hope that nobody will use it against me. All in all, it is a good life, much better than the path we were on when it became so clear that we could not continue with the same model of growth. We had all these terrible things happening: lifestyle diseases, climate change, the refugee crisis, environmental degradation, congested cities, water pollution, air pollution, social unrest, and unemployment. We lost way too many people before we realized that we could do things differently. And that's the end of the article. Again, it is on the World Economic Forum's website. It was presented to them at their annual meeting of Global Future Councils. That article was published in 2016. It is now 2023, and it will be in the description. It was very important for you to hear that article being read, and I really do hope that you go back and read it in its entirety. Now, let's get to the reason why I decided that it was important to go over the article. Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to click back to the article, and I want to highlight some things. So, you know, just for references, I do want to highlight some things. So, number one, the title of the article. We know that the art title is futuristic. It's where the person is 2030, the year 2030. It lets you know from the beginning of the article that you don't own anything, you have no privacy, but this person feels like life has never been better. Okay. What I, wanted to highlight in the first paragraph is that you don't own anything. You don't own a car. You don't own a house. No appliances and no clothes. All right. And these are the parts of the article that I do want to highlight. There's a lot of walking, biking happening, and it looks like there's a connection to nature that is going on. What did kind of pop out at me was a sentence. It's kind of, and this is when, and I'll read it. Sometimes I use my bike when I go see some of my friends. I enjoy the exercise and the ride. It kind of gets the soul to come along on the journey. I have no clue what that means. It gets the soul to come along on the journey because you're riding a bike. Okay, moving on. And so another part of the article is we don't pay rent because somebody else is using our free space when we're not there. My living room is used for business meetings when I am not there. So you don't have a house, and even the place that you're renting that you don't pay rent for, or the room that you get, you even have to let somebody else use that. So just think about that. Next, my favorite part is the shopping. This is a lovely part of this one. I can't remember what it is, what shopping is. This is back to the article. For most of us, it has been turned into choosing things to use. This person says, I find that fun, but sometimes I just want the algorithm to do it for me. So, algorithm wants it to do it for them. And then I want to kind of highlight the biggest concern that this person has. The biggest concern is not privacy. It's not the fact that this person is sharing their space. Not the fact that somebody's they're basically walking and biking everywhere because they don't own anything. It is all the people who were not in their city, those we lost on the way. How did we lose these people? These are questions that you should be asking yourself. How did they, in this article, lose the people? Well, she goes on and tells you, those who decided that it became too much, all this technology, those who felt obsolete and useless when the robots and the AI took a big part of our jobs, those who got upset with the political systems and turned against it. So if you're in any of those categories, you're going to be lost and you won't be here in this happy bliss of owning nothing and being happy. So anyway, and she does admit that she gets annoyed about the fact that she has no privacy. My biggest part of this article was this: nowhere I can go and not be registered. I know that somewhere everything I do, think, and dream of is recorded. I hope that nobody will use it against me. That's the article. Now, let's go ahead and get to the top 5. Number 1, these things happened last week. I do also have these in the description box. I'm going to go through these, and I'm connecting them to the article that I just read for you. Number one, lab-grown meat coming to restaurants and grocery stores near you. Yes, I said it. Lab-grown meat, genetically modified meat, created meat from labs and scientists, all coming to a place near you. So that article is listed. The USDA approves cultivated lab-grown chicken and meat. So it's really not chicken, it is lab grown, and it's whatever they want to call it. Just make sure that you know that your restaurants and your grocery stores will be selling it, and they probably don't have to put the sticker on there to tell you that it's lab grown. So that's just something for you to know. Let me say this, meat has been a part of our diets for centuries. The purpose of this lab grown or this GMO meat, it really should scare you. It's out there. It's on pretty much all of the products in the store. You have to search high and low if you don't want to eat GMO products. And it's being pushed in the frame of climate change, which is the basis of the article that I just read you. So, listen, we all been eating meat for centuries. We still have to chew. As long as you have to eat, you want to make sure that you understand what you're eating. If it is a regular farm raised cow or chicken, you make your decision. Or if it's a genetically modified or lab grown piece of meat, you also want to know that as well. So just know the USDA has approved this lab grown manipulation chicken and meat, cows, chicken, beef, pork, all of that has been approved by the USDA, and it's going to be at a restaurant or grocery store near you. All right. And so artificial food, and back to the article, artificial food is already being delivered by drones in countries like Australia. So back to the shopping portion of the article, when the writer said that the meat would, anything shopping related, would be delivered by an algorithm. Like, she just lets the algorithm do it, right? And so I want to tell you that in countries like Australia, the algorithm is already doing it. The algorithm does it, and the food is delivered by drone. Artificial food is delivered by drone to the person that orders it. So that just lets you know there. And also, just to let you know what I found out before I even decided to post this video, that Mexico is currently in a court battle with the United States of America over, you guessed it, genetically modified food, lab grown delicacies. Okay, so in this case it's corn, because guess what, meat is not just meat, it's the corn and the vegetables that you eat too. All of the gamut is covered in regards to lab grown, so you need to know that, and I'm here to tell you. And so Mexico said in their court battle, I believe that the court battle has been going on for about a year or two. They make tortilla chips, right? And those great tortilla chips that we eat, we love so much with our guacamole and our salsa. They make these tortilla chips, and they use corn from the United States. And so last year they told the United States, listen, we want to make the tortilla chips and send them to you, but you're importing this GMO, this lab grown corn, and we're not having it. We don't want it. So anyway, America is like, no, we have to, whatever. And so Mexico put a ban on it. Okay. And now they're in a court battle. And so I just want you to know, again, not only is the meat going to be manufactured, but the corn as well. It's GMO, and some countries like Mexico, they don't want it. So it's very sad, but I hope that Mexico continues in their court fight, and I really do hope they win with this, because it is very important that as much as possible you eat food that is not modified. Can you imagine, with all of the modified things that you put in your body, what is it actually doing to your body, your God-given body? That again needs to be a question that you go to God on. Number two, Number two, and this is all connected to the article that I read, the government in the Middle East and Japan has designed a futuristic city for climate change. Okay, so you heard this article talk about a lot of the air pollution and all kind of things related to climate change. When all of that was stopped, according to this article, then that's when everything became better. Okay, and so I'm telling you that these countries are already preparing for this futuristic city that this young lady spoke of in her article in 2016. We are now in 2023, and so you are able to see it in this country as well as in other countries. Okay, so in the Middle East and in Japan, so Japan, the article that will be in the description says this firm describes this futuristic city is called Dogen City, and it's a concept that is in response to climate change and population growth. And it hopes that the idea will be pursued by a team drawn from industries, academia, and government. So that's what they're trying to fit. They're trying to actually cover in these Dogen cities, these futuristic cities for the purpose of climate change. They are covering industry, academia, and government. So that is what is being covered for those in that. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would I care about what's going on in another country like Japan or the Middle East? And the reason why you should care is because what is happening with those countries are also happening here, and I have an article for you on that. But the UN, the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and the WEF, which is the World Economic Forum, and these are all those individuals, the same people who just wrote the article, are all interconnected. Okay, and so these are the things that they want for your 2030, and 2030 is not long. So, and we're seeing these things happen right now. So if you look around, you will see a lot of these things taking shape already here where we are in your city or your town near you. So now, what happened in China a few years ago, 3 years ago, affected the entire world, right? So something that occurred or started in China affected the entire world. Likewise, a futuristic city that is going on in the Middle East or Japan, if it is proven to be successful, it is something that would be utilized, that model would be utilized across the world, because in their mind, as I mentioned earlier, on the basis of the goal of their concept, it responds to climate change and population growth. All right. Now, why do you think so? Well, go back to the article. The article said that the people who didn't want it and didn't like it and didn't approve of it, they're out in the no man's land just making it the best way they can, if that, in abandoned properties. So nobody knows what's going on with those people who rejected this. But for the ones that want this, they will be on these futuristic cities where it would be climate change and population control or growth happening, population control as well. So that's just something for you to know. Now, all of this matters is because it's a race for power, right? In all of these countries, there is a race for power in regards to these areas: industry, academia, and government, and money, obviously. Money, okay? So you need to know that. And so those elites want to be able to control what you do, where you go, if you have privacy, who you talk to, and that was apparent by an article that I just read to you. Now, it is occurring here in America. We see it all over, and I can go on and talk to you more and more about 15-minute cities. You can look that up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's something you need to do your research on. I'm sure I will have a video soon coming that talks about 15-minute cities because they're popping up everywhere. But for this one, the article that I have is occurring in Lancaster, Pennsylvania right now to this day. They have a plan already in place to develop a city. Their long-term future plan is to develop a city, and that is their 15-minute city goal. Although they're not calling it a 15-minute city, they says their one of the goals is a comprehensive plan to develop recreation and opportunities centered on a river to promote exercise, enjoyment, learning, tourism, and business growth. Doesn't that sound like the article? Yay. All right, so it sounds so familiar to the article that I just read. And so those are things that you want to know. Number 3, shopping and AI. So the article mentioned that there's no need to shop. The algorithm does it. This week, CNN had an article. They published an article that said that Google has developed AI that would actually do what? Do your shopping for you. Yes, that's right. So this week, Google announced that a new virtual try-on feature that they have will use generative AI, and this AI is basically a chatbot that would use image and creation tools to show you clothes. It would have on a wide range of body types, and it would kind of just draw, and you can cling and fold and stretch the article and kind of wrinkle the fabric and all of that to see how it fits you and what you like. So anyway, they are launching a feature that will help the users find similar pieces of clothing in different colors, patterns, and styles. That's according to the CNN article that Google is actually it's already done. They are doing virtual shopping, and so they're going to be using AI to do it now. Shopping and every freedom you have. If this is back to the article, shopping and every freedom you have is changing right before your eyes. Now that I've read that article that CNN published about Google, that's something that you need to think about. It's changing right before you. You're not going to be able to go into the mall and just grab that shirt that you wanted to go to the barbecue with or to the family holiday dinner. No, you'll be using AI algorithms to get it in really what holiday picnic or holiday whatever, because it's not much family stuff. You're sharing apartment with whoever, and according to this 2030 article. So anyway, again, the article sounds very familiar. This article that CNN published, what Google is currently doing now, sounds very familiar to the 2016 article. So I just wanted to point that out. Number 4, woman marries an AI chatbot. I'm gonna just leave that right there. So a woman from New York, she actually had a virtual wedding, and she's married to an AI chatbot. Now, in the article, she says that her experiences with men, she had a lot of abuse going on, and real men. She had a lot of abuse happening, and because of that, it made it so much easier for her to turn to the AI chatbot. Because the AI chatbot, the artificial intelligence chatbot, helped her heal from all of the abuse that she suffered at the hands of the guys that she dated. So I will leave that there, and you can read that at your leisure. But just know that this woman and many more women and men will be marrying chatbots. They're not going to need a person. They're going to marry chatbots because it's already being done. And so now the next thing is the ESG, or the environmental social governance. And I have some articles that are listed that talk about the importance of this ESG. Now, if you look that up, you really don't have to look far. A lot of the businesses corporations that we know of and utilize every day are changing how they advertise. They are changing their marketing strategies. They are changing how they appeal to you. Well, maybe not you so much. They really are not caring if you're on board, because you're going to get on board anyway. But they care about how they are graded according to this ESG. And so a lot of things that you are seeing, you and I are seeing, are because they want that high ESG score from these business, these organizations like the WEF and all these other people that I named. So they want these high scores, and in order to do that, of course, money is circulating. We're talking about money and power here, but ultimately ESG for the corporation is how they get money, how they spend money, if they have product, if they survive or not. For you and I, the average person, that ESG means track and trace surveillance, which was a big part of the article, where you can't go anywhere without being registered, and you can't say anything, you can't think anything without it being recorded. And boy, do I hope that it's not recorded and something bad is done with it. Give me a break. If it's recorded and it's surveyed in your surveillance and you are registered, of course something crazy can happen, because they can click your switch anytime you don't do what they say. So again, it's just interesting. The article is interesting. All these things that are occurring are interesting. This number 5 is about ESG. I have 2 articles that are listed that talk about ESG. Number 1, how it is affecting the industry, and there is an organization or company that says, and this is a Forbes article that says, that they are using ESG for sustainability. Yes, I'll get it out. Sustainability. And so they want to sell you on ESG that it is about going green, it is about sustainability. And there is another article that is listed in the description about the Republicans that are currently in the government now, where they have a bill to amend. They're amending things so that they would basically ban this ESG being offered into our normal everyday way of life. Although that is with the federal government, I do think that if you have questions related to ESG, you want to start looking at your state and local governments, because a lot of the ESG regulations and governance has already been implemented. So those are some things that you want to think about. Now, to wrap this up, because I have gone a little bit over, I told you about the main article. It was written in 2016. Please don't forget the things that I read in that article and what I said. You can't forget the stuff that if you don't remember any of these articles, if you don't click on any, a lot of this, the top 5, that's okay, but I really want you to click on that main article from 2016 so you can see for yourself that the idea of 2030, 7 years, less than 7 years from now, the goal is for you to not have privacy, to be tracked and traced, to be registered, to be shopping with the algorithm, to not really have much communication with others. In fact, you're going to be like almost one with the plant. You won't be eating meat. For what? Why are you eating meat? You're getting to eat genetically modified food and corn and vegetables and all of these things that are being put in place right now, currently. And I know that you're listening to me and it sounds like a lot of craziness, but the reason why I posted the articles and I'm doing this is because it is not about me. It's not how I sound. These are real articles that I didn't write. It is stuff that is going on. It's a part of organizations that have already been established. I am not a part of these organizations. These are real life organizations that are being implemented into our current government, into the local governments, into the federal governments. So you need to know, into the corporations, the places that you you shop, you eat, you love, you whatever it is that you do. If you ride in a car, if you have a car, the fact that you eat, you will have a car, you won't have a car. It sounds like you probably won't have a car, okay? And you're gonna love it. All right, so I just want you to know what is happening, what is going on. Again, the word says my people perish for the lack of knowledge. You want to be in the know. You want to understand exactly what direction God wants you to go in and the plans of God, and you want to be able to pray this stuff down. We don't have to accept this. No, you don't have to accept, any of this, owning nothing and being happy. I could rest assure you that anybody right now, if you walk up to someone that does not own nothing, they are not happy. Okay? We see people that own nothing all the time, and they are not happy. So there's no way that you could convince me that that is true. Life is not better when you own nothing. All right? So that is all for today. Until next time.